The British government is replacing the native British population at an alarming rate. And this is not hyperbole or conspiracy theory. The numbers don't lie. And they are a direct result of the policies of the British government.
I'll say many things about this area. It has a large Muslim population. We've got quite a big mosque behind me. And the demographic change has been very interesting.
Many people have discussed this problem, but what I would like to contribute to the discussion is to point out that this replacement is purposeful. It is a direct result of government policies. And not since the Anglo-Saxon settlement of Britain in the 5th century AD have we seen anything like this. Let me stress the power dynamics of this replacement, because this is often missed in discussing mass migration. The British people never asked for this. They were never allowed a vote on it. In fact, they were often promised by many conservative and labor governments alike that the mass immigration would cease, but it never did. This was thrust upon the native Britons against their will by the ruling class. Hello, I'm Michael. This is Southern Realism, a channel about power, geopolitics, and decline. In the year 2000, the native ethnic British population of the UK was 86 to 87% of the overall population. There was already a trend of decline taking place, but the UK was still overwhelmingly native British. By 2021, that percentage had fallen to 76%. That is a massive change of 10 to 11% of the population in just 20 years. That means the country is becoming roughly 0.5% less native British every year. So we can estimate that the native population of the UK is now down to about 74 or 75%. 0.5% each year. All you have to do is extrapolate that out over the course of an average lifespan, say 80 years, and you have a 40% change in the population. If you do that, then you have a completely different country, an unrecognizable country in just one lifetime. What has existed for over 1,000 years is suddenly unrecognizable in one lifetime. And the point I want to stress here is that this is a result of policy. Many people speak of demographic change as if it were a natural event, like a storm or a drought or an earthquake. Hey, did you hear England had some demographic change this year?
And the demographic change has been very interesting in the last 20 years.
The media and the government talk about it in this abstract manner. They act as if it's just an inescapable fact of life. But of course it isn't. It is a result of policy enacted by various British governments over the last 50 years, but especially over the last 30 years. Let's start with the Conservatives. David Cameron and Theresa May allowed in 2.7 million immigrants during the 2010s, split roughly between EU citizens and non-EU students, workers, and their families. After Brexit, Boris Johnson's government brought in a surge of foreign workers, driving down wages for native working class Britons.
And helping. Look, Gary, I've always been somebody who champions immigration. I'm a product of immigration myself. I think that it's a good thing for the country to be open to high skilled people who want to come and do.
But we have a crisis
do a great
at
job.
the moment, and
well,
a shortage.
Those are your words, okay?
We certainly have labour shortages. I think you'd have to sign up to those words.
Okay.
This was a big win for big business. It was a policy which benefited the ruling class at the expense of the people. Boris Johnson also allowed in hundreds of thousands from Hong Kong and large numbers of Ukrainians.
China's crackdown on Hong Kong has led to more than 150,000 locals migrating to the UK in just 2 years. It's thanks to a special visa created under former Prime Minister Boris Johnson. And that's just the beginning. The British government believes 320,000 Hong Kongers could move by 2026.
Rishi Sunak's short-lived government was particularly aggressive in replacing native Britons. Net migration peaked at nearly 1 million people for the year ending in March 2023. Sunak achieved this with various humanitarian schemes as well as high student and healthcare dependence numbers. The Conservative Prime Ministers of Boris Johnson, Liz Truss, and Rishi Sunak also permitted over 45,000 illegal immigrants to cross the English Channel in small boats in 2022 alone. That would have been easy and popular to prevent, but they chose not to do so. So this aggressive replacement of Britons was a policy that the Tories vigorously pursued under multiple different prime ministers. Everyone is probably aware that the Labour Party elites under the new Labour prime ministers of Tony Blair and Gordon Brown in the 1990s to 2010 widely opened Britain's borders.
But what I wouldn't do, Jeremy, is put an artificial cap on the number of migrants coming into this country, because there's a lot of businesses who want to recruit people who they can only get from abroad at the moment.
They allowed in over 2.2 million immigrants.
This is a mobile world, and you've got to accept that.
They did so in part by eliminating temporary restrictions on workers from 8 Eastern European nations. And the current Keir Starmer government allowed in nearly 500,000 in net migration in just his first year in office through worker programs, student visas, asylum seekers, and various resettlement schemes.
Now, make no mistake, this plan means migration will fall. That's a promise.
What you see is a consistent policy since 1997 pursued across the 2 new Labour prime ministers, the 5 Conservative prime ministers, and the present Labour government. Labour and the Tories largely agreed on this policy of mass migration through various schemes, despite the rhetoric. The result is that 15 million immigrants have entered the United Kingdom since 1997. In less than 30 years, 15 million immigrants were allowed in. Many of the prime ministers from both parties during this time promised to crack down on immigration, even as millions more were allowed in.
We have to stop the boats, and this government will do what must be done.
Why did they make such promises? Because mass migration is not popular. It was opposed by the British public. And that's the point here. The ruling class of the United Kingdom brought in all these millions of immigrants against the will of the British people. That is the basis of my claim that this was a long-term policy across both major parties by the ruling class of replacing the native British people. So when I say population replacement, that is not a conspiracy theory or hyperbole. It is simply fact that native Britons are being aggressively replaced by the British government. This is in large part why both the Conservatives and Labour are in sharp decline. It goes a long ways in explaining the explosive rise of Reform and Restore of late.
Mass deportations of illegal migrants and foreign criminals must be our ultimate policy objective. Is it going to be logistically straightforward? Absolutely not. Is it necessary? Absolutely yes.
They are a reaction to the purposeful replacement policy of the Conservative and Labour parties. How has mass immigration impacted your local community? I'd love to know. Comment down below, and if you like this comment, please do like the video and subscribe, and I'll be back with you very soon.